Word out of training camp is there was some influential coaching being done, and maybe the most influential coach in the rookie minicamp wasn't Ben Johnson's. Plus, we're starting to get leaks about the Chicago Bears' upcoming schedule. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central and every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go to get into this content for today, y'all. We got schedule leaks coming out. We got more things coming out of rookie minicamp. Listen, we're getting closer and closer to actual football being played, and as we ramp up and get closer to that, the more excited I'm going to get because talking about news, talking about rumors, all that stuff is all fine and dandy and great. But what I really love to talk about is actual football. So we're going to talk a little bit about all those things, plus the chances that the Bears trade for Trey Hendrickson as the talks between him and the Bengals have seemed to all but slow down. And we'll start there, right? Trey Hendrickson. And I get it. I talked about this a little bit over on Bleacher Report, which, by the way, I'm live on Bleacher Report every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys go and check that out as well. But the Trey Hendrickson thing came out in a release from Trey Hendrickson that basically alluded to the fact that him and the Bengals have not talked at all. They've cut off all communication. He feels like what some things that were promised to him and said that were happened to him at the end of the season have not come to pass. And that now leads many people to speculate and ask what that future is going to be like with Trey Hendrickson and could the Bears make a move? And while I know I'm the guy here that I bust a lot of people's expectations when it comes down to it and their hopes and dreams for the Bears doing more than what they're going to do, I don't think the Bears are in a position where they're going to be willing to trade the draft capital that's needed to get a Trey Hendrickson in here. On top of that, the Bears would have to restructure some contracts. I don't think they would be against that to get that level of talent, but I just don't think the Bears are at a place right now where they're going to be willing to move off as much draft capital as needed to get Trey Hendrickson in the door. But with that said, I just don't think the Bears are at the place where they're willing to trade the draft capital. I think this team is going to want to really take a look at what they already have here, right, before they try to make an evaluation or make a decision or determination to make a move that's going to take that much draft capital, that's going to be that much of a financial situation as well. I told you guys, this Bears team, whether right or wrong, is very well confident in the defensive line that they have here. Now, we'll see if that comes to pass, and I want to make no mistake about it. Adding somebody who's had 17 and a half sacks in each of the last 2 years would be absolutely great for the Chicago Bears to add on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. But I think when you look at the financial commitment that they've already made to like a Dayo Odeyingbo, look at what he's going to get paid in the second year of that deal. I think they're really going to want to see this out before they make a move, before they have an opportunity to really see what's going to be there. So Trey Hendrickson, great player, but $18 million, right? Is what his cap hit's going to be this season, and you have to immediately pay him at 32 years old. Like, let me be clear, Trey Hendrickson is a monster. He's a beast. He's a dog, right? He's a problem, to keep going with the analogy there. But I do think that the Bears are going to want to see what the depth that they've built are able to do, right? And so while you may not have the one player to have the impact like a Trey Hendrickson, if this Bears defense is able to do it overall as a unit, they're going to want to really evaluate that, right? And I think on top of that as well, the Bears may very well be willing to wait it out and see what happens in unrestricted free agency if he ends up making it to that, and then playing their cards, right? So the Bears are going to be very protective over their draft capital, I feel, going forward for a few reasons. But hopefully their own pick isn't as high as like number 10 for quite a while, and that's going to put them in a situation where they're really going to try to come down and really look at what they do with their own draft capital. I think is a thing that happens to that. So, overall, I get the allure. And us calling it allure is a little bit disingenuous. Like, Trey Hendrickson is a monster, right? And I would absolutely love him. I think if you add him to this Bears team, you're instantly become one of the best defensive fronts in the game of football. You look at adding Trey Hendrickson to the opposite side of Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings, right? With Daniel Hardy, Booker as depth. Like, that's amazing. That's an amazing defensive line rotation. I just don't know if the Chicago Bears are in a position of where they're going to be willing to give up that capital to get it done. And I think that's what it all comes down to. But we shall see. Maybe Ryan Poles and the coaching staff after training camp feel like they're ready to go all in chips. But I think I'm not saying that Ryan Poles is not going to be willing to make this type of move at some point. I just personally think that you're going to push all your chips in like that type of move once you're sure that you have this team that you think you have on paper. So the Bears are probably going to be more open to making those type of moves after this season if they see that themselves being a team that competes in the NFC North. If we end up being a team that gets to the playoffs and things like that, I think that's where you're going to see those type of moves, those all-in moves to make something happen now. So again, I know it's a little bit disheartening for some Bears fans that want to see the Bears make the big swing now, but overall, I think a Trey Hendrickson move, it's not at this time where something like that's going to end up happening. That's just what I think from it. But you guys can let me know how you feel down below. But you talk about making splashes. Something that made a splash for the Chicago Bears in the rookie minicamp was Eric Bieniemy. We've heard nothing but how Eric Bieniemy's fire and his drive as a running coach he's already establishing his presence and influence that he's going to have on this roster overall. And so, it was, the headline was the most influential coach at Bears rookie minicamp was not named Ben Johnson, which is a little bit misleading to make it seem like maybe Ben wasn't influential. He is, because he's the organizer of all this. But I think the fire that Eric Bieniemy is coming with, right? And keep in mind, this is also a creative offensive mind when it comes to play calling as well, right? Don't touch the cones. Like, that's going to be, we need to put that on a t-shirt with the Chicago Bears logo and stuff on it. Don't touch the fucking cones, right? But when you look at the running back group that we have here, right? As of right now, DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monangai, Ian Willer, right? Travis Homer still in the building as well. And while we don't have the flashy names, having a coach that is able to coach those guys up and get them ready for the level of expectation and performance that they're going to have to put up if they want to be able to be a team that's going to have a solid running game, you feel that. And it feels like Eric Bieniemy understands the importance of that and setting a tone, right? I think that's the thing that you're looking at overall in this, is that there's a tone setting. And the Bears coaching staff is trying to set that tone early, and they realize that they need to, mainly because, you know why? Because this goddamn coach, the last coaching staff that we had in here was bad. It was terrible, and it didn't establish anything. It didn't hold the Bears accountable. They barely held themselves accountable. So because of all those things in the mix that it puts itself in at now, it adds to the fact that, like, what Eric Bieniemy is doing, does it seem intense? Is it part of the reason why he got the moniker of being an asshole? Yeah, that's part of it. But guess what? I'm ready to embrace it. I'm perfectly fine with that if it leads to having a team that actually, for once, lives up to the preseason expectations and goes out there and puts it all out on the field. The tone, and one thing that we can sometimes underrate is how important coaching is to everything that a team does. When a team goes right, we look at just the talent, right? When the team goes wrong, then we just want to blame the coach. Well, there's something in between that when it comes down to it, right? The Bears have had a lack of not only accountability, but a lack of intelligence when it comes to coaching. You look at what we've added here. Eric Bieniemy is your running backs coach, right? Declan Doyle, up-and-comer, is your offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson is your head coach. Dennis Allen is your defensive coordinator. Dan Rouchar is your linebacking coach. I've always said this. There's no salary cap on coaching. So why not spend the money to get the best that you can in the building? And that's what it seems like that this Bears front office has done. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what a part of what Ben Johnson wanted to make sure to negotiate is that, hey, yeah, we got to make the right roster moves. We got to improve the offensive line. I need a certain amount of type of talent that I need in here. Make no mistake about it. But I would not be surprised. A big part of what Ben Johnson's demand and what he talked about is, listen, I need the best coaches possible. That's what I need here. I need the best coaches, absolutely, that we can get so that we can clear out the mess that you motherfuckers created by keeping Matt Eberflus in here longer than what he needed to be. All right? So I need to make sure that we get, because we not only have to unlearn the bad habits that were learned under Matt Eberflus, we have to establish trust with a group of players that saw the bottom of the fucking barrel that we could possibly have with having Matt Eberflus as your head coach for as long as he was your head coach. That's what this this coaching staff has to do. That's what the test in front of this coaching staff is. They have to clear out all the nonsense and then begin to build these players back up in the way that they need and want them to play so that we can be a team that's actually formidable and operating like a competent football organization. That's what this team has ahead of us, right? And so I think all of those things that are starting to come and build in this team and in this franchise, and like I said, the roster's starting to have the identity. The defense starting to look like a Dennis Allen defense. Now, are they going to look like it on the field? That's a thing. The offense, with a few tweaks and major changes to the offensive line, is starting to look like the offense that Ben Johnson is going and having the identity of Ben Johnson. All those things are there. And so I think when you look at all of this, when it comes down to it, like, this is what we needed. The fire and intensity that Eric Bieniemy showed in just a rookie minicamp, I hope that continues in training camp, because that is what this team needs, because we've been a team that has got caught lacking far too often. And I, for one, am tired of it, much like I know a lot of people are. I'm tired of having the team that is disappointing. I'm tired of having the team by week 8, we're looking at it like, there's always next offseason. You're not going to get there if you don't have a coaching staff that holds themselves and the players accountable. You have to build an actual culture. And it seems like the Bears are starting to do that, man. And let's hope that ends up being the case as well. And we'll see what happens here, man. Overall, I think this is the makings, right? And again, they have to prove it on the football field for me. If you want to crown them, go ahead and crown their asses. But the work that's done in training camp, the work that's done in practice, the work that's done in between the games, that's where the Bears have to excel at first. They have to do that and excel in that so that we have the right mindset once the games are on, once the pads are on, once we start playing, that we can go out there and play and perform the way that the Chicago Bears. I would love to talk about a Bears team that once again finally looks like a Chicago Bears team, that finally looks like the team that we need to, that we deserve to have as Bears fans. This is one of the most storied organizations in the NFL, and we've sucked for the larger part of 20 years. So just put that all together. That's the importance that it needs to be here. And so I think Ben Johnson, I think this coaching staff is understanding that. You look at the rookie class that we've brought in. I talked about it on yesterday's episode. There's so much positivity already coming out of the Chicago Bears rookie class. Like, just look at it. Everything that you've seen from Ozzie Trapillo to Luther Burden, even Newman, right, to Kyle Monangai, all these guys, Reuben Hippolyte, it seems like these guys are really high on some of these players, and let's hope that they end up performing that way. Even some of the UDFAs and Power Echols, Major Burns, right? These are guys that have the real and legitimate chance to make an impact for this Bears team in some shape, form, or fashion. Varying degrees, of course, but they have the chance to make that impact. I'm trusting this coaching staff to get these guys together. Eric Bieniemy and this running back crew, I hope that he's able to shape these motherfuckers up, because we got to go, right? And you got a guy like Zay Frazier as well, who, hey, say what you will about Zay Frazier being selected in the 5th round. This guy has a chance to really make it. And I think he has a chance to, listen, I'm telling you right now, if Jaquan Brisker or Kevin Byard go down, Zay Frazier is going to be ready to step in, and he can perform. And everything that I've seen in the tape that I've watched him, this is a guy that absolutely can perform, and he may shock the Chicago Bears. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into some of the scheduling leaks that have come out so far for the Chicago Bears, man. Seems like the Bears may be opening up the season on Thursday Night Football. So that's what it seems like. Also seems like we're going to be facing off against the Packers in week 16, I believe that is going to be. So the full schedule will be released at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. We'll be live on Bleacher Report to go over that if you guys want to break it down. I'm sure the guys will do something over here as well. But you already know who the Bears' opponents are going to be. The schedule's starting to leak in here when it comes down to it. And we'll see, man. Overall, I'll say this when it comes to the Bears. I'm not mad at it. I think when you look at the schedule is the schedule. You don't really have any control over the schedule. Whatever happens when it comes down to that. The thing that I look at it that I personally say is that you have to own the matchups that are in front of you. That's what you have to do. If you don't do that, it is what it is, right? We know that the Bears also will be traveling to Philly to take on the Eagles on the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday. I love that. November 28th, we'll be taking on the Eagles. That's going to be a really big matchup. I love that matchup potentially there for the Chicago Bears. We also will be hosting the Green Bay Packers on December 20th. So we get to ruin Packers Friday, their Sunday before Christmas. Love to see that as well. But, that's what it comes down to. The Bears Also it looks like the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles will, I think, start off the game when it comes down with the NFL season as well. But hey, listen, when it comes down to the Bears, man, I'm happy for the Bears to be able to get out there and have an opportunity to show what they can be this season. And so as the schedule leaks and things like that, cool. It is what it is. Whoever's in front of us, we got to find a way to compete. We got to find a way to beat them. And that's the most important thing. I don't care who or how the schedule works out. We got to be competitive. Now, of course, where the bye week and where all that stuff plays in is going to be a big part for rest. Last year I made the bye week kind of where I would love to see the Bears kind of be clicking on all cylinders by then. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen, right? But the Bears, the Bears will go to Philly November 28th. We know that one. We'll face off against the Packers in Week 16. Love that one as well when it comes down to that. Seems like that's going to be a doubleheader as well. Love that. The Eagles are going to be taking on the Redskins, then the Commanders then as well. I'm adjusting. I'm 38 years old. They've been the Redskins most of my life. But it seems like things are really starting to change a little bit for the Bears. And we'll see as the schedule keeps coming out. We'll keep going over those leaks, and we'll see what it has to be, man, overall. But before we go, I want to get into this voicemail. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, man? Darius from Dallas. I just wanted to kind of call in and talk about that Reuben Hippolyte guy, man, because I feel like we are maybe just kind of not giving him a chance a little bit. I know he's unproven, and he's a late-round pick guy, so ain't nobody expecting him to be Ray Lewis or nothing like that. But when you look at him, man, the guy he really reminds me of is Jonathan Vilma. And maybe that's why Dennis took a swing on him, because he has, he coached Jonathan Vilma, and he's got familiarity with what that type of player can do for the system. And they got the kind of like the same measurables, man. I think Reuben is 6'1". I think Vilma was 5'11". But Reuben's 40 times 4.39, which is very good for a linebacker. And then you got Vilma, I think it ran a 4.4 or 4.5 or something like that. But he played a hell of a lot faster than that. One thing that I noticed that's similar, and the reason why I'm comparing him to Jonathan Vilma, is because when you look at the highlights, tape, whatever, all the plays that he's making are either at the line of scrimmage or behind it, and most of them are behind it. So when I look at a guy's highlight tape, and then most of the highlights are plays that he made in the backfield, that's a guy that's got a natural nose for the ball. Okay, regardless of what we might think about him, where he was picked, whatever, he's got a natural nose for the ball. And if you go back and you look at the highlights, you'll see he is either at the line of scrimmage or he's 5-10 yards in the backfield making a play. Okay, and I think that Dennis Allen is a blitz-heavy guy. He used Jonathan Vilma in a lot of those blitzing situations. And I think that he wants to do the same thing with Reuben. Reuben's not going to have to come in there and immediately try to be a starter. He's going to get a year to be up under Tremaine and really learn how to play the game right before he starts, which means that by the time he starts, the game's going to slow down for him a little bit, and he can just be free and play play his game. So we're not going to see the best from Reuben this year. We're going to see the best from Reuben in like year 2, year 3, and I'm pretty excited to see what that guy can do moving forward. I think we need to stop looking at him as a wasted pick. I think some Bears fans have that mentality, and I don't think that's a wasted pick. I think that's one of the ones that's the long play in the future type deal. Also, Tyreek, don't think Zai Frazier ain't good enough to take your position, because I don't think Tyreek did anything that was so outstanding last year to where he can't be replaced. And Zai, bigger than you, taller than you, stronger than you, runs a 4.3. So you better come in there and with your head up out your ass. Check this up there now.
Reuben Hippolyte. Listen, I think there are signs that Hippolyte couldn't be a guy, especially since the strong side linebacker is open. Now, I do think Hippolyte played more weak side linebacker over the course of his collegiate career. Somebody fact check me on that one. But I do think if Hippolyte's able to come in here, he's going to be able to compete. Noah Sewell right now is probably the guy that's ahead. There's no depth chart right now. So, you can come in and he can make it. I think that him and Power Echols are going to both be competing for that strong side linebacker, and we'll see how it shakes out. Ultimately, if the Bears can come out with a victory, great. And get a guy in Hippolyte that can be like the speed's there, the tenacity's there, all that type of thing, the workhorse ethic, that's all there. We just got to see if he's going to be able to refine those skills enough to be an NFL player. That's what's up in here. Let's hope that he can do it. If he can, the Bears got them one. And that's really what it comes down to, is where you can find value at. Hippolyte felt like a reach. And like you said, he doesn't have to be Ray Lewis or anything like that. It's great that he worked in people's camps and all that. That's all great. But how Reuben comes in, and I think when you look at Dennis Allen and how creative he can get on the defensive side, that's what I'm really excited about. We got a defensive coach that's as creative as the offensive mind we brought in Ben Johnson. I think he's going to find a way to use him creatively, whether it is blitzes, whether it is in coverage. I think he's going to be really creative. And, hey, if Reuben Hippolyte ends up being a star, great. If not, it is what it is. We'll see what happens there. But, all right, that's my time for today, guys. And, we'll see what happens overall. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.